You've been carrying too much. Too many thoughts, too many worries, too many expectations. They told you to stay strong, to keep going, to just be positive. But no one told you how heavy life can feel when your heart is tired and your mind won't stop racing. You try to rest, but the silence gets loud. You try to sleep, but your thoughts keep spinning. You smile during the day, but deep down you feel overwhelmed, like you, 39, re-holding your breath underwater. The truth is, you don't need more pressure. You don't need to fix everything tonight. What you need is comfort. A kind voice that says, you're allowed to feel tired. A soft space to land when life feels too much. And ancient wisdom that holds you not with rules, but with relief. Because the teachings you're about to hear, they aren't loud. They don't shout or demand. They soothe. They whisper peace to your nervous system. They remind your soul that even in chaos, you can still be calm. Even in exhaustion, you can still feel held. Even in the dark, there is still light. This isn't just something to help you fall asleep. This is something that helps you let go of the fear, of the tension, of the noise that's been living in your chest. So breathe. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. Right now, all you need to do is listen, because comfort is coming, peace is on its way. And tonight, something inside you is going to shift. Are you ready? Let's begin. Sometimes, the heaviest thing we carry is the belief that we have to hold it all together, that if we don't, think about the problem, it will get worse, that if we don't control every detail, something will fall apart. This way of living becomes a silent weight, the kind no one sees but you feel every second. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's not about becoming passive or uncaring. Letting go is an act of trust. Not in others, not even in the world, but in the moment itself. It's the moment you decide that your mind doesn't need to be on full alert while your heart begs for rest. The breath teaches this better than words ever could. Every inhale is a gathering. Every exhale is a dacian. Release. And yet, most people live their lives only half breathing. Breathing in tension, holding it, storing it in their shoulders, their neck, their gut, but never fully letting it leave. Tonight, that pattern starts to shift. If you've ever noticed how your body tenses when you, 39, re-deep in thought, how your jaw clenches or your fists close when stress builds, then you've already met the signals. These are your cues. Your body speaks through them. It's asking you to let go, not with words, but with breath. Take a moment now, without changing anything. Just notice your breathing. Don't fix it. Don't make it deeper. Just feel it. Is it shallow? Is it tight? Does it pause in the middle as if unsure whether to keep going? That hesitation you feel, that's the moment you can change everything. When you exhale with intention, you send a message to your nervous system. I am safe. I don't need to brace. I don't need to defend. The muscles that tighten during the day, the ones that protect you, guard you, help you push through. It's okay for them to soften now. Releasing isn't loud. It's not a breakdown. It's quiet. It's the way leaves fall without resistance. It's the way rivers don't argue with rocks, they flow around them. Letting go emotionally is like that. It doesn't require drama. It requires honesty. There's an exercise used in certain mindfulness practices called softening around the emotion. The idea is simple but powerful. Instead of resisting what you feel, fear, sadness, frustration, you notice it. You Sit beside it like you would sit beside a tired friend. You breathe, and you say inwardly, "It's okay for this to be here, and it's okay for it to go." We're taught to push pain away, distract, escape, numb. But what if your pain isn't a problem to solve, but a signal that something in you is ready to be released, not fixed, not solved, just released? Breath is how we begin. Inhale, feel the tension rise like a wave. Exhale, feel it leave like mist. This is not performance. There's no perfect way to do it. If your breath is shaky, that's okay. If it's shallow, that's okay too. What matters is your awareness. The decision to stay present instead of collapsing into thought spirals. Throughout the day, we build up micro moments of stress, tiny things. An email that annoyed you, a conversation that didn't go right, a look someone gave you that made you feel small. These moments don't disappear. They collect, like dust on a shelf. And at night, they often rise back to the surface. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. That's why this practice matters. Each breath is a quiet clearing. Each exhale a broom sweeping the broom, 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 sweeping the brooms. Nervous system. You may not notice change instantly, but something deep within you will. If emotions come up as you do this, let them. That's not weakness, that's truth. Sometimes we need to feel in order to finally be free. There's a technique called noting in Vipassana meditation. You observe what arises in the mind and label it softly: worry, tension, planning, regret. You notice it, and then you return to the breath. No judgment, no getting pulled in, just labeling, observing, releasing. Why does this help? Because the mind craves stories. It wants to dive into the narrative of your emotions. But when you label them instead of feeding them, you step outside the loop. You begin to separate your sense of self from the chaos. You become the observer, not the reactor. That's letting go, not by force, but by awareness. Another layer of emotional release happens when you stop trying to manage the outcome of things. So much of our stress comes from clinging to how things should go, how people should behave, how our life should unfold. But clinging turns breath into tension. It hardens the body. It keeps you in a constant low-grade fight mode. The practice here is not easy, but it's powerful. Drop the should, embrace what is. That doesn't mean you give up on growth. It means you stop resisting reality. When you accept what is, here, in this moment, you reclaim your power. That resistance, this shouldn't be happening, that's the real source of pain. The moment you let that go, even just for a breath, you feel space. You feel peace. Letting go also means releasing the role you think you have to play. The strong one, the responsible one, the one who keeps everything together. Who says you can't rest? Who says you can't cry? Who says you have to figure it all out before your head hits the pillow? You don't. There is something deeply healing about being honest with yourself, especially before sleep, saying, "I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired." And that's okay. That honesty makes space. And in that space, healing begins. We often believe that if we don't keep thinking about something, we'll lose control. But thinking isn't the same as solving. And control is not the same as peace. Letting go isn't forgetting. It's not pretending you don't care. It's saying, this thought, this worry, this pain, it's real, but I don't need to carry it through the night. Release doesn't mean you erase your past. It means you stop dragging it into your present. Sleep is the body's way of resetting, but if your mind is still sprinting when your eyes close, that reset can't begin. That's why emotional release before bed is not a luxury, it's necessary. Try this tonight. Before bed, put your hand on your heart. Not to force comfort, but to reconnect. Feel the rise and fall, the quiet drum that's been beating all day without thanks. Then say, gently, inside yourself, you've done enough for today. Let go now. Not because everything is fixed, not because you figured it all out, but because you deserve peace, even in the middle of the unknown. Especially in the middle of the unknown. Letting go isn't one big act. It's a collection of small choices. Each breath, each moment you don't chase. The thought, each second you say, I can rest now. When you begin to treat rest as sacred, your body listens, your mind follows. Not immediately, but eventually. Over time, sleep becomes not just a physical act, but an emotional release, a ritual, a return. You may find, as you continue this practice, that your dreams change, that your mornings feel lighter, not because your life became easier, but because you stopped gripping it so tightly. Letting go gives life back to you, breath by breath. So tonight, instead of trying harder to sleep, try softer. Instead of reaching for control, reach for presence. Let your body be the guide. Let your breath be the anchor. Let your awareness be the gentle hand that says, you don't need to hold everything right now. There is a part of you that already knows how to release. It's the part that sighs when you see a sunset. The part that softens when someone says, it's okay, I've got you. That part still lives in you. It always has. You don't need permission to let go, but in case you've been waiting for it, here it is. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to breathe. You're allowed to exhale not just air, but the weight you've been carrying. Let tonight be the night you don't fall asleep with clenched fists. Let it be the night your body learns that rest is not weakness, but wisdom. Not because everything is okay, but because you are still here, still breathing, still worthy of comfort. Let go now. Not all at once, not perfectly. Just one breath at a time. And once you've softened enough to let go, really let go, you'll notice something begins to shift. The weight doesn't disappear overnight. The noise doesn't vanish instantly, but the way you hold it changes. Lighter, gentler, more alive. There's something beautiful about what comes next. Not silence, not blankness, but presence. The kind that turns ordinary moments into sacred ones. And when you approach sleep not as an escape, but as an offering, something sacred starts to bloom. Because your bed isn't just a place to rest your head, it can be more. It can become a space where healing begins. A place where you return to yourself, not to perform, not to achieve, not to impress, but simply to be. What if every night wasn't just the end of a day, but the beginning of something meaningful? Something slow, something holy. That's what happens when your pillow becomes your altar. Sacredness isn't about incense or chants or elaborate rituals. It's about intention. It's about how you treat the moment. And sleep, the most intimate part of your daily cycle, deserves more than just a rushed collapse into unconsciousness. It deserves your attention, your care, your respect. In Buddhist temples, there's rhythm, not the loud kind, the steady kind, gentle bells, soft footfalls, chants that aren't meant to be impressive, but grounding. That rhythm isn't for show. It exists to remind the body and mind to return to simplicity, to presence, to peace. You can borrow that rhythm. You can bring it into your bedroom, into your breath. Think of how you usually prepare for sleep. Is it fast, distracted? Do you check your phone until your eyes blur? Do you carry the day into your bed with emails, texts, unfinished thoughts? Most people do. Most people sleep with tension still clinging to them like dust they forgot to shake off. But there's another way. Start by creating an ending, not just for your tasks, but for your energy. A true closing. Not everything needs to be resolved before bed, but everything needs to be released. That's what rituals help with. They aren't rules, they're containers. They hold space so your mind doesn't have to. Try this. Choose one small act to repeat every night. Not because you have to, but because your body craves rhythm. Maybe it's lighting a candle, washing your face slowly, touching your bedsheets with awareness instead of distraction. That small act is not random, it becomes your bell, your signal that the day is done and something quieter begins. What matters most is that you slow down, not for the sake of slowness, but to feel what's really there. A ritual works when it helps you return to yourself, when it reminds you that this moment matters not for productivity, but for presence. This isn't a performance. You're not trying to be spiritual. You're being honest. You're giving the body what it truly wants at the end of the day. Peace, stillness, release. Not through force, but through attention. Buddhist monks rise early, chant softly, walk with intention. But it's not the act that's sacred. It's how they do it, with presence, with humility, with reverence. For now, you can treat your bedtime with the same reverence. You don't need to change your whole life, just how you show up for this moment. Even something as small as fluffing your pillow becomes meaningful when done with care. It's no longer just a routine, it becomes preparation, a soft ceremony. You're not just getting ready to sleep, you're creating space for your mind to land. Think of your pillow as more than fabric. Think of it as a witness. It's been there through everything. The late nights, the tearful ones, the joyful ones. It holds the shape of your head like an old friend who knows how to hold space without asking questions. Rest becomes sacred when you treat it like something that matters. Not because you earned it, not because you did enough, but because being alive is reason enough. In Buddhist teachings, the temple is not just a building, it's any place where truth is honored. That means your bed can be your temple, not through perfection, but through presence. You don't need silence to feel sacred. You need sincerity. That's the difference between collapsing into bed and arriving in bed. One is escape, the other is connection. Let your body sink, not out of exhaustion, but out of safety. Let the mattress receive you like the ground receives the rain without resistance. Let the night hold you without expectation. There's a phrase used in meditation, arriving fully, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You can do that each night. Pause before you lie down. Place your hand on your chest. Feel the beating heart. Let that be your temple bell. No one else needs to understand your ritual. It's not for them. It's for you. For the part of you that's tired of rushing. For the part of you that's carried too much. For the part of you that forgot what it feels like to be gently held. Some people think rituals are old-fashioned, but rituals are how we make sense of the passing of time. Without them, the days blur. With them, we mark transition. We create space. We allow transformation. And transformation doesn't always look like change. Sometimes it just looks like deeper noticing. Like waking up with less tension in your jaw, less weight in your chest, You can end each day the way monks end their evening chant, not with a grand finale, but with a whisper, a soft return to breath, a nod to impermanence, a quiet thank you to the day, even if it wasn't perfect, especially if it wasn't. Even brushing your teeth can become a ritual if done with awareness, noticing the sensations, the temperature of the water, the way your feet feel on the floor. Every ordinary moment holds the precious potential for depth if you let it. That's what makes the pillow an altar, not the object, the intention, the way you arrive, the way you surrender. This is where you meet yourself without distraction, without roles, without the armor you wear during the day. Here, there's no audience, no performance, just breath, just rest, just you. Some nights you may feel resistance. The mind may not want to slow down. That's okay. Don't fight it. Let the ritual carry you. Let it hold you the way rhythm holds a chant, steady, calm, patient. This is where you learn the art of trust. Trust that you don't need to carry the entire world into your dreams. Trust that your body knows what it's doing. Trust that silence is not empty. It's full of healing. Create a phrase that belongs only to you, a mantra for your night. It doesn't need to be poetic. It just needs to feel honest. Something like, I return to myself now, or it's safe to rest. Let it be simple. Let it be real. Repeat it with your breath. Let it anchor you. The brain loves rhythm. It responds to repetition. That's why rituals work. They're not magic, they're memory. The body begins to associate the pattern with safety. Over time, your system learns. This is when we let go. This is when we rest. If you light a candle, let it mean something, not just for scent or ambiance. Let it be your reminder. Light still exists, even in darkness. Let it signal a shift, from effort to ease, from thought to presence. You don't need an entire ceremony, you just need consistency. That one moment each night that says, I honor this space, I honor my need to stop, I honor the silence as much as I honored the noise. When the lights go out, let that be a blessing. Let darkness become your cloak, not your fear. A space where nothing is asked of you except to simply be. The more you return to this nightly rhythm, the more it becomes your teacher. It shows you what matters, what doesn't, what needs to be carried, what can be put down. Ritual does not promise perfection. It promises presence. And presence, when repeated over time, becomes healing. No one can do this part for you, but once you begin, you'll realize it's not effort, it's nourishment, it's the meal your soul's been asking for. So tonight, when you prepare for sleep, prepare with care, not with urgency, but with reverence. Even if the day was hard, even if your mind is cluttered, let the act of laying down become a sacred return. Let your pillow hold more than your head. Let it hold your release. Let it hold your trust. Let it hold every silent thank you that you were too busy to say during the day. This is not the end of the story, just the soft pause between chapters. And how you pause changes everything. Close your eyes, not as escape, but as arrival. Let this be your rhythm. Let this be your altar. Let this be your night. And once the rhythm is set, once the night begins to wrap around you like a soft vow, you realize something else waiting beneath the stillness, beneath the breath, beneath the ritual. A quiet question that stirs in the dark. Who are you when there's nothing left to hold? When there's no schedule, no mirror, no name being called, what remains? Not as a crisis, but as a gentle wondering. a soft loosening of everything you thought you had to be. Because some of the weight you carry isn't from tasks, it's from identity. And now, in the silence of midnight, it, 39's, finally safe. To explore what happens when you let go of even that. Every day you wear names, roles, stories. Some are chosen, some handed to you, some were whispered into you before you knew you had a choice. You wear them like skin mother, leader, partner, fixer, quiet one, strong one, anxious one. You live inside them, build your habits around them, define your worth by them. And then you go to sleep, wondering why you still feel so heavy. It's not your fault. The world trains us to be someone, to have a label, a category, a status. But those identities, helpful as they can be during the day, aren't always meant to follow us into the night, especially when you're trying to rest. Because underneath all the labels, there's something simpler, something clearer, something untouched by pressure, expectation, or comparison. That something is not a thing at all. It has no name, no brand, no backstory. Buddhist teachings call it anatta, no self, not meaning you are nothing, but meaning you are not what you cling to. You are not your thoughts. You are not your habits. You are not your past. At midnight, that truth becomes more accessible. Not because the concept gets easier, but because the silence creates space. The noise fades. The external world stops asking things from you. And for a moment, there's a doorway into something softer than ego. When you rest your head on the pillow and let go of your roles, you don't disappear. You return to something more true, something that was always there underneath the doing, the proving, the shaping. This is not philosophy for the sake of thinking. It's practice. It's about rest, deep rest, the kind that doesn't just soothe the body, but frees the mind from its masks. At night, there is no one to impress, no one to convince, no spotlight to stand under. The thoughts may still try to rehearse the day, but you don't have to follow. You don't have to identify with every thought that passes through. This is what the no-self offers: relief from the inner narrator, the one that says, "I am not enough," or "I should be more." The one that replays arguments, the one that chases validation. All of that relies on the story of self. And while stories can be useful, they can also become prisons. Freedom begins when you realize you can watch the thoughts without being the thoughts. You can feel emotion without becoming the emotion. You can experience tiredness without turning it into failure. Thoughts will say, "I am anxious," but you can reframe it to, "Anxiety is present." Thoughts will say, "I am failing," but you can soften it to, "Struggle is arising." You are not the storm, you are the sky. This small shift, done regularly, unhooks the mind from clinging. It doesn't erase difficulty, but it removes the stickiness. It allows rest, and it opens a kind of peace that isn't based on external calm, but internal spaciousness. Let's make this even simpler. Before sleep, when you notice a thought arrive, pause. Don't follow it. Don't push it away either. Just name it gently. Judgment, memory, planning. Say it without attachment. Then return to breath. This isn't a mental trick. It's a form of untangling. You don't have to be anyone while you sleep. Not a good person. Not a success story. Not the one who's always strong. The bed does not require an identity to support your body. The night does not ask you for credentials. Rest becomes deeper when the self becomes softer. The pain of being human often comes from gripping too tightly to an idea of who we're supposed to be. That grip creates resistance, Resistance creates tension, and tension steals rest. If you can loosen that grip, even just a little, you create space for something different, not emptiness, but fullness without burden, a presence without pressure. You are not erasing yourself, you are unbinding yourself. In some meditative traditions, teachers say, let go of the meditator, meaning don't even identify as someone who's doing it right. Let go of even that effort. Just be awareness, just be breath. This teaching is powerful before sleep, because the deeper you try to rest, the more identity can sneak in. I should be more peaceful. I'm not relaxed enough. Why can't I shut my brain off? These are identities, disguised as thoughts. You don't have to believe them. You don't have to fix them. You can notice, release, and rest. The silence of night is fertile ground for these insights. You don't need special training. You just need to stay. Stay with the breath. Stay with the presence behind the performance. Every label you carry becomes quiet when you don't feed it with attention. You are not removing value from your life by releasing identity. You are uncovering the peace that identity sometimes blocks. And when that peace is felt, truly felt, it changes your relationship to everything. Not all at once, but slowly. You stop chasing rest. It starts arriving on its own, because you're no longer defending a self that needs constant validation. Even the idea of being a good sleeper can become an identity, and with it, pressure. Pressure brings tension. So let go of the need to be anything, even someone who lets go well. Instead of asking, who am I? Try asking, what is here when I stop needing to be anything? Not for analysis, just for rest, just for release. At first, it may feel like a blank space, but if you stay with it, you'll sense something deeper, a kind of quiet presence, a hum behind the noise. It doesn't need to be named, it just is. The body relaxes when it isn't trying to protect an idea. The mind softens when it isn't chasing a role. Sleep deepens when identity is no longer driving the moment. You may feel fear as you loosen these ideas. That's normal. The ego doesn't like to be quiet. But you're not trying to kill it. You're just letting it rest too. Like a worker who's been on the clock too long. Give it the night off. Let the deeper part of you hold the space now. There's a kind of comfort that comes from knowing you don't have to be someone all the time. You just have to be. That's enough. That's always been enough. Thoughts may still rise. Roles may try to reattach. That's okay. Keep practicing. The repetition builds a new rhythm, a new reflex. Over time, the release becomes easier, not because you forced it, but because you remembered how. Buddhist monks often sleep in complete stillness, not because they're better, but because they've practiced surrender. The same surrender is available to you, not through effort, but through allowing. You don't have to remove thoughts, just stop owning them. You don't have to stop emotions, just stop labeling them mine. Watch them pass like clouds. Be the sky. This is what it means to dissolve identity gently, not erase yourself, but stop gripping so tightly to the poor story. Let the story fade for the night. Let the breath take over. You are safe without your roles. You are worthy without your titles. You are whole without your narratives. Let the night hold what you no longer need to carry. Let rest wash over what no longer needs to be named. You are not the noise. You are the awareness underneath. You are not the mask. You are the presence, watching it come and go. And now that you know this, sleep is not just rest. It becomes a return to stillness, to spaciousness, to self without self. Let go now, not just of your thoughts, but of the one who thinks them. Let the mind melt into the night. Let the breath carry what remains. Let the silence be enough. Because it is, and you are, without trying, without effort, without identity. Only peace now. Only presence. Only this. When you no longer cling to identity, when the story loosens its grip and the masks begin to rest, something unexpected rises in the quiet. You meet what's underneath, the soft, worn-out core of yourself that's been trying so hard to be enough. It doesn't ask for understanding. It doesn't need fixing. What it needs is kindness, not from the world, from you. Because after all the effort to hold it together, to perform, to strive, to cope, the part of you that has carried it all is tired. And not just tired in the body, tired in the spirit. This is the moment when compassion becomes not just helpful, but essential. There is a teaching in the Buddhist tradition called metta. It means loving kindness, a deep, sincere wish for well-being, both for yourself and others. But in moments of exhaustion, most people forget the first part. They remember how to give kindness to the world, but not how to offer it inward. When you are worn out, you don't need more pressure. You don't need better routines or louder motivation. You need care, not performance, not strategy, just presence with warmth. And that starts with meeting yourself as you are, not as you wish you were. Mental fatigue has a way of distorting reality. It makes you think your thoughts are truths. It makes you believe that being tired is the same as being broken. But that isn't real. Being overwhelmed doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've reached the edge of your current resources. And that edge is not your fault. The antidote to this isn't to try harder. It's to respond differently, with gentleness instead of judgment, with acceptance instead of blame. You do not motivate a tired soul by yelling at it. You meet it like you would meet a child who's been crying for hours, not with force, with kindness, with steady hands and quiet understanding. Loving kindness begins with the decision to stop fighting yourself, even when you don't feel strong, even when you feel like you don't deserve softness. That's often when you need it most. Metta is not a reward for perfection. It's a practice for the imperfect. You begin simply, in silence, in stillness, not with loud declarations, but with the smallest whisper inside. May I be at ease. May I find peace. May I let go of harshness. You don't have to believe the words yet. You just need to speak them, quietly and sincerely. Let them echo in the background of your breath. You can place a hand on your chest or your belly if it helps bring you closer to presence. Feel the warmth there, the rhythm. The body still working for you, even when your mind feels lost. This is not an affirmation exercise. It's not about forcing positivity. It's about reconnecting to the quiet truth that you are worthy of kindness simply because you exist. Metta grows with repetition. Like a seed watered each night, you offer it not because you feel loving, but because the offering itself creates warmth. You can say to yourself, I see your pain. I see your weariness. And I'm here. Not to fix, just to stay. That staying is the medicine. When you stay with yourself, without judgment, something in you begins to soften. The tight places loosen. The inner critic becomes quieter. You learn to hold your experience instead of escaping it. You stop asking, what's wrong with me? And begin asking, what do I need right now? Most of the time, what you need is not complicated. Rest, comfort, slowness, and space to not be okay. without being made wrong for it. Metta doesn't erase pain, it changes your relationship to it. Instead of pain becoming proof that you've failed, it becomes a signal to pause and offer support. When you extend kindness to yourself, you begin to repair the part of you that thinks love must be earned. You remind yourself that worthiness is not a transaction, it's the ground you're already standing on. In the face of mental fatigue, loving kindness is not indulgence, it's resilience. It is what allows you to rest without guilt, to stop without shame, to heal without apology. There's a quiet strength in being able to say, I am doing the best I can. Even if the best looks like barely holding on, even if the best is messy, even if the best is simply getting through the next breath. In Buddhist practice, the phrases of metta are repeated with calm attention. May I be safe. May I be well. May I be peaceful. May I live with ease. These aren't magic words. They are reminders, anchors. They speak directly to the nervous system, calming the places that feel chaotic, overwhelmed, or unloved. Mental fatigue makes the world feel sharp. Thoughts race, emotions blur. But loving kindness offers a soft edge. It reminds you that you don't have to be your energy level. You don't have to become your burnout. You are still you beneath it, whole, intact, worthy. Practicing this doesn't require silence. It doesn't need a meditation cushion or perfect posture. You can do it lying down, with eyes heavy and breath uneven. The only requirement is willingness. A willingness to be with yourself, gently, without pushing. Even one moment of true kindness can begin to reset the system, one breath paired with a sincere phrase. You can say it out loud or just think it. May I allow myself to rest. May I let this be enough. Over time, you begin to feel the difference. The same exhaustion feels lighter. The same thoughts feel less convincing, because you're not adding the weight of self-judgment on top of them. Compassion isn't passive, it's powerful. It's what allows you to move through difficulty without breaking. It's what brings steadiness when everything else feels uncertain. There may be nights when you forget to practice, nights when the fatigue feels louder than the kindness. That's okay too. Metta is not a scorecard, it's an invitation. One that is always open, no matter how many times you miss it. The more often you offer loving kindness to yourself, the more natural it becomes, like a muscle that grows through use. You may even begin to feel it spread outward, toward others, toward strangers. But it always starts with you, not out of selfishness, out of balance. You cannot pour compassion into the world if your own well is dry. You cannot give freely when you withhold care from yourself. So let the practice begin with your own weariness, your own need, not because it's perfect timing, but because it's the honest truth. Loving kindness for the worn-out self looks like permission. Permission to rest without earning it. Permission to say no without guilt. Permission to feel without fixing. Permission to be held by your own awareness. You do not have to wait for someone else to offer this to you. You can be the one who says, "You're allowed to stop now. You've done enough. You are enough, right here as you are." This is not sentiment. It is practice. Deep, steady, grounded, repeated night after night, until the mind learns to receive it and the body believes it. Even when everything feels tight, there is a part of you that can soften. Even when the day has emptied you, there is a voice inside that can still say, "I am with you, even now." You are not a project, you are a being, a human being, who feels, who breaks, who heals, who tries. And trying alone is worthy of tenderness, May the rest you offer yourself tonight come without conditions. May the breath you take now remind you that you belong. May the quiet you feel in your chest be a sanctuary you can return to any time. And even if your thoughts resist, even if your emotions feel tangled, keep returning, keep offering, keep softening, not for performance, for peace. This is metta. This is loving kindness. This is your medicine. You've tried pushing, you've tried proving, you've tried pretending everything was fine. Now try love, quietly, steadily, deeply, especially when you feel like you don't deserve it. Because that is when it matters most, and that is when it begins to heal. And once you've offered kindness to the parts of yourself that feel worn and overused, a new kind of silence enters. Not the kind that feels lonely, the kind that feels like space that opens up after judgment softens, after pressure loosens. And in that space, the mind finally starts to settle. But even in peace, thoughts don't disappear. They drift in, they linger, they repeat. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're still human. The question is not how to stop them. The question is how to meet them differently. Thoughts are not problems unless we hold them too tightly. Thoughts become heavy when we believe they define who we are or demand our attention. But thoughts, at their core, are just movements, passing currents, temporary flickers of mental activity. They don't need to be controlled. They need to be seen for what they are, fleeting. This is where visualization can become a powerful ally, not as distraction, but as a soft tool for release. In Vipassana practice, there is a visualization often used to help people unhook from thought patterns that loop endlessly. It is the image of a stream, calm, steady, continuous, and on the surface of that stream are leaves, light, drifting, carried by the current. Each leaf holds a thought. You don't choose which thought appears. You don't control the stream. You just observe. You place the thought gently on the leaf and watch it go, one after another. No rush, no force, just quiet noticing. This practice is not a trick to stop thinking. It's a way to stop clinging, to stop chasing the thought down the river, trying to change it or solve it, to stop judging the thought for being there. You stop assigning meaning to every mental interruption, and instead you begin to watch. Thoughts about the day will rise, memories will surface, worries about tomorrow may appear.